Before this video starts, I want to preface that my driving instructor was one of the nicest and kindest men I have ever met, and without him, I know I would have been a worse driver and done worse in my test. And this is just meant to be a bit of fun, so thank you so much, mate. Learning to drive is just one of those things. It's like a rite of passage from being a kid to becoming an adult. It's seen as one of the greatest achievements you can do as a young person, but man, it can be difficult sometimes. So I started my lessons back in summer 2018, and as all people learning to drive, was extremely nervous. The only times I had behind the wheel was at Clifton Marina in my granddad's car. I must have been like 6 or younger, and I think it must have been in gear and I stalled it somehow as it jolted forward. I quickly got back into the passenger seat and waited for my granddad to come back to the car. The other time was also at Clifton Marina. Funny. And my dad put me on his lap, and in the car park I would turn the wheel while he used the pedals. Man, I love Clifton Marina. Honestly, one of the best places in England. It's funny that as well, as he seems to have had more trust with me driving his car back then than he does now. And I have a full licence and he won't even let me move it onto the path. There has also been another time in a Citroen Picasso, but I will save that for another video as it is part of something bigger. So I got into his car. Wait. This drawing is so terrible, and it was used in the Pizza Hut girl video. That's better. And BMW X5. So we had that typical introduction of like who we are, what we're gonna do, and so on. We went to this industrial complex for me to learn as it was empty, and there were a few roundabouts which even today kind of still terrify me. We did the basics of lifting the clutch and moving along, braking, and just the bare necessities to get me started. It was actually quite easy, and I rarely ever stalled. To think about it, I think I only ever stalled like 3 or 4 times during all my lessons and tests. I think that's pretty good. We carried on these lessons for about 10 months until my test, which, don't worry, I will get to. But here are some of the highlights of my lessons. Well, more just like some things that I pick out. Right, Eddie, we're gonna go over park here on the left. Okay. Right, I won't be a minute. Wait, where are we? Greg's? What are we doing at Greg's for? This is a driving lesson. Ugh. Right, come on, let's go. Right, Eric, same again. Over here. We're going to park on the left in front of that red car. Okay. Right, I won't be a minute. Wait, not again. Where are we at? Subway? What are we doing at Subway? Like, am I learning to drive? Or am I learning to be a delivery guy? Like, what's next? Are you going to make me drop a parcel off? Come on, Eric. Let's go. Right, Eric, I want you to turn down this street and park at the end. Right, Eric, there you go. Wait, where are we now, mate? A chippy? The shops or something? Oh, wait, I'm home. Okay then, thanks, mate. See you next week. And I will be honest, we went to like Greg's or Subway or like Cars Pasties almost every lesson for him to get something to eat or drink. I really didn't mind as it gave me a break from the 2-hour lessons, and I will say that he probably needed a break as well from some of the stories he told me. Another place we liked to go every lesson was the petrol station. I don't know what it was, but with his car, it was always like at max 10 miles of range. So inevitably, we'd have to go fill it up every lesson. The worst I ever saw it though was at like 0.4 miles of range, which, like, wow, cutting it fine, aren't you? And this wasn't like I was filling it up and learning how to do it like that. No, I'd be in the car waiting. What's next? Car wash? Want me to spend 12 quid in a car wash again? And there was one saying my instructor had that sticks with me. One saying that makes my dad laugh. And that is creep and peep. And what creep and peep is when you have to give way junction, you reduce your speed and creep forward while peeping your head over forward to see if there's any traffic. It sounds quite smart, and it must be if I can remember it over 2 years later, but it's just the words creep and peep. Like, it could be used for so many things and some not so family friendly things. I learned so many things about myself while learning to drive. The major one is that I really don't get stressed out at all when on the road, even when people are idiots. The only time I did get kind of annoyed was on my test, but we will get to them. I also learned that I'm awful with directions and get constantly confused between my left and rights, which isn't the best, but won't fail you if you go the wrong way on a test, so long as it's safe. I also don't know where anything is or where I went. Like, seriously, once I'm out of my local area, say 1 mile from my house, I was completely lost and had no idea where I was. And if it came down to it, I would have no idea how to get home. Anyway, I promise you I would talk about my test. And yes, there were multiple. There were 3 tests, and each one was quite interesting. The first one, I believe, was in November 2018. On a regular day, so no weather hazards. I was quite nervous, but believed I could do it and didn't show my nerves. We tested my eyesight and it was legal, and then you get asked a tell me question like, oh, how do you know if the brakes are working or something like that? And you go on the road. Now, this test was actually quite normal. I did some parking, I did the parallel park manoeuvre, and it was quite smooth. But like I said, there were 3 tests, so I failed this one, and here's how. I was driving down this road, and the green light was on. So I proceeded, but the stupid bus basically pinched me between it and the curb. Obviously not wanting to hit the bus, I ran up onto the curb and nearly hit a traffic light. Now, I probably should have stopped right there, but there was a car right behind me, so that may have caused a problem, and honestly, I genuinely see no way I could have done it safely. So obviously I failed that one and had to book a new one, which was in January 2019. And this one started with, as soon as we got into the car, the examiner said to me, "You're a big one, aren't you?" "Yeah, I am quite tall, I'm 6 foot." "No, I mean big." "Yeah, I guess." Like, what does he mean? My weight? My sausage butter? Or what? Like, I'm very confused, and to this day, I don't know what he meant. Anyway, it wasn't 1 minute from getting out of the test site until probably the most annoying thing to ever happen to me on the road happened. I was at a small roundabout. There was a car coming from the right, so I stopped as they had no indicator, meaning they were going to go straight ahead past me. And I kid you not, he went left. Like, so not going past me at all, and another car behind him, that one, had no indicator either, so I remained stopped. And they went left too! Like, how is this possible? How can 2 cars do this, not put a... And then it happened a 3rd time! Like, right, 3 cars in succession had no indicator on and went left. Like, are you kidding me? So, what a start to a driving test. Wow, I genuinely couldn't believe it. The rest of the test was going alright, as the route we went on was basically the exact same way that we came to the test centre, so it was alright and actually quite calm. But the reason I failed this test annoyed me as well. We were on this packed street with cars parked either side, and like this giant 4x4 was parked on a crossing that had one of those little pedestrian island things. And being in a pretty wide car myself, it was tight. And apparently, I hit the wing mirror of that stupid car that, I remind you, should not be parked there on a crossing. And I say apparently as there was no noise from hitting it like you'd expect. And my wing mirror didn't collapse in it. But the examiner slammed the brakes on and said, I hit it. Really? Okay, sure. Same guy who asked about my sausage butter. So at this point I already knew that I'd failed, and I did, even though I only had 1 minor fault, and that was the best driving I've ever done. Oh well, something's fishy here. Maybe to make people pay more money, you know? Maybe they fail you on purpose. Who knows? Conspiracies. Anyway, let's get on to the test I actually passed. On this day in March, it was a horrendous day. Like, really bad storm weather, and I was actually worried, as you never know what will happen. Anyways, it was going smoothly, and this is the part where I get confused. So it was terrible rain, and I was on a large roundabout, and I felt like I was just going everywhere, you know, crossing lanes, and just had no idea where to go. And I genuinely couldn't see a thing through the rain. I think what helped was that there was barely any traffic, so I wasn't causing any hazards, but that moment I genuinely thought I had failed, and I felt like that for the rest of the drive. I also got all of my minor faults, which was 3 from one place. There was an ambulance behind me, and the lights turned green just as the ambulance got past me, and I panicked and actually stalled. I know, shocker! And I just didn't know what to do, so I got 3 faults there for different things. Anyway, we got to the test centre and the examiner said that I had passed. Yay! I was gobsmacked as I genuinely thought, still to this day, it's my worst ever driving. But now I get to gaze upon my shiny pink driving licence. A full one, not some little green one. Ew, who wants that? No, but seriously, me and my instructor were elated at it as he drove me home as you do. And unfortunately, I never saw him again. He was a genuinely nice man and I appreciate him teaching me as now I can legally drive. So, you may be asking, what car do I have? Lamborghini, Ford Mustang, Tesla Model X, Fiat Punto, you know, one of the greats. Well, the answer is none. Yeah, I don't have a car and haven't driven a car since passing my test now over 2 years ago. Mainly because insurance is so expensive, but oh well, maybe someday. Jesus, that was a long video, wasn't it? I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I probably did making it. And I will see you next week for my 10th layer. And it will be something a bit different, so I hope you like it. And thanks for watching.